Now students, let's study the first, that is types of prepositions. In types of prepositions there are three types, and first we are going to study the first one, that is place and position. Place and position are also called spatial relationship prepositions. Okay, now you can see the examples here: in, at, on, between, above, below. So they are all the example of place and position prepositions. Okay, now there are many other also: above, across, among, at, to, behind, front, beside, beyond, next to, near, over, under, upon, up. So there are so many, and we are going to discuss each one of them, okay, to understand the difference and to understand the meaning in actual. Now when do we use in, on? So let us take in and on, and even in, at, on. All these three will take together. Okay. Now many a times, like if I say I live in Jodhpur. Now whether it's correct or not, I live at Jodhpur. So there's a confusion between in and at, isn't it? So what are we going to use in and at? Now in we always use for bigger place, and at we use for a smaller place. For example, if I say I live in Jodhpur at Pauta, isn't it? So in Jodhpur is a big city, and in Jodhpur there is a place that, or a street you can say, that is Pauta. So at Pauta. So in we use for the bigger place, and at we use for a smaller place. Okay. So in, live in Jodhpur at Pauta, isn't it? So Jodhpur is a big place and Pauta is a street, isn't it? So a small place in Jodhpur. So in we use for we will use for Jodhpur, and at we will use for Pauta, isn't it? You have to keep this in mind, because many a time people are using wrong prepositions. So you have to use the correct ones also. Now see, if suppose this is not there, I live dash Jodhpur, then what you would write? Again, in Jodhpur. Why? Because Jodhpur is a big place. So you are going to use in for Jodhpur, in Jodhpur. Now let us see at, isn't it? Sometimes even to and at, what is the difference between? Now many a times you are confused. Now see, in, at is over. Now on. If I say this is a table, suppose, imagine this is a table, isn't it? And a pen or a paper is kept on the table. So I can say the paper is kept on the table. Why on? Because it is touching the surface. The pen is on my palm. See? It is touching. Then I can say on. Now upon. You can see upon is also there. What is upon? If I say on, upon, on, it is still. It is not moving, but it is touching. And what is upon? Upon. There's a movement in upon. The cat jumped upon the table. So there's a movement in upon. So on, there is no movement, and on upon there is a movement. The cat jumped upon the table. So you can see jumped upon the table, isn't it? So this is now. So all these three. Now even to and at. What is the difference between to and at? To, past pass the ball to him. So to small, like slowly you will just pass, isn't it? You will not hit like that. You will just pass it on, isn't it? Passing the parcel. What we do, we pass it slowly. Pass one by like that. So pass it to. We use to. If I say at, hit him at the leg. There is a force. So in at there is a force, whereas in to there is no force. So very slow action and fast action. At. I hope now this is clear to you, and even on and upon is clear to you. Now between. Between and among there are two, isn't it? Let us discuss both these two together. When do you use between? When there are two. Suppose there are two trees, isn't it? This is one tree and this is two tree, and a cat or a bird is sitting, isn't it? So a bird is sitting between the two trees. So when there are two, we use between. But if I say there are bushes here, this is bush and even this is bush, all these bushes are there, then I can say the bird is sitting among the bush. Among means there are so many. So when many are there, we use among. When two are there, we use between. So this is the difference between and among. When do you use these two? So between only with two and among with many. The ball fell among the bushes, among the trees. That means many trees are there and there the ball is there. So this is also correct. Now above and below and over. Over also. These three we can discuss together. Now above means the clock is above my head. Okay, suppose the clock is here, okay, and then I can say the clock is above my head. Above. Okay. If I say the lamp is hanging over my head. Over, that means some sort of movement, or the fan is running, the bird flew over my head. When I say the bird flew over my head, that means there's a movement in the word over. So in over there's a movement. Over, there's a movement. In above, the movement is not there. Static. The thing is static at one place. And below is just under. If I say here, this pen, so it is below my head. Okay. So this is the position. So these three are again, I think it's clear to you. Three. Now come to across. Suppose now there is a road. This is a road and one man is standing here and he has to come to this place. So across the road. He is going to cross this road and go across the road. So when going across. So across the road. At and to are again clear. We discussed here. Now behind and front. Okay. Now suppose here the board is behind me, isn't it? The camera is in front of me. So the position, okay, behind me or at the back of me, this is behind. Okay, the camera is in front of me. So just in front of me, face to face. So again, this is, I think, clear to you. Now beside and besides. Now see, there are two words. Sometimes, the children are confused between beside and besides. The meanings are totally different. Now, beside means, this is your preposition. Beside means what? Okay, both are prepositions. Beside means what? Now, suppose somebody is standing here. Okay. So, I can say, oh, he is standing beside me. Just side by side. That is beside, side by side. If I say besides, apart from this. Besides means apart from this. Like besides your classwork, you also have to do your homework. That means both you have to do. So besides this, you have to do that also. Means you have to do this classwork also and you have to do homework also. Besides your classwork, you also have to do your homework. So this means the same. That means both the things. Whereas here this means nearby, just side, at the side of me. So I hope you understood the meaning of beside and besides. Just by adding s to it, see how much difference is there in the meaning of the word. So even a single word makes a lot of difference. This you have to keep in mind. Now come to beyond. What do you mean by beyond? Beyond means like the car will take you beyond the mountains. Okay, like the mountains are already far and beyond that it's going to take you. So that means far than the things which are already far and farther than those things also. Beyond. One cannot see beyond the horizon. Okay, the horizon we cannot see beyond it. Next to. I am sitting next to, just near, side, in the side. Okay, next to. Or next means after this, what next? Oh, okay, we are going to study a literature chapter. So next, that means after this. Near, over we have already discussed. The bird flew over. Over, there's a movement in that. Near. The blackboard is near to me, very near. The camera is near me. Okay, so close by, it means close by. Under, upon and up. Now up is what? Climbing up the stairs, the movement up. Upon, jumped upon. So there is a movement in upon, whereas up there is no movement, but it shows the position, means up, down. So it is the movement. It is showing you the position, whereas upon giving you the movement. Upon, under, underwater, again the position. Now what is the difference between in, into? Suppose there is a pond, okay, and the boy is swimming in the pond. You can see this boy swimming in the pond, isn't it? Swimming in the pond. Swimming in the pond. We are going to say in the pond, not into the pond. Now if you see a boy here and he is trying to jump in the pond, okay, we will not say jump into. The boy jumped into the pond. If you find him jumping like this, okay, just if he is here in the position of jumping, okay, you can say into the pond, means he will go jump. There is a movement in this. There is a movement. Whereas in there is no movement. He is there only in the pond. Though the movement is going on inside, but he is still. But into the pond, that means the movement is there. That means he is going to jump into the pond, inside the water, and then he'll come up. So into and in. So this is the difference between in and into. I hope you must have understood. So types of prepositions, place and position. So we have discussed place and position here. Okay, now let's discuss the next one, that is